It is tea time, ladies and gents, boys and girls, dogs and dogesses.
Yeah, and it's been 10 years.
Yeah, so this is the 10-year anniversary special episode.
Yeah. And the camera is blinking at us, so let's see how long this lasts.
So, James pulled out some very interesting old-time ripe Pu'erh from the 1980. And James, please.
Yeah, so this was a wedding gift given to me by Sue, so thank you very much, Sue. So when I got married, I guess 6 years ago at this point, this tea is much older than that, from the 1980s. It's a Xiaguan tea. It's a Xiaguan ripe. I think it literally says year 1980. So it's a 7583, so it comes in a brick. I assume it's some sort of variation on the 7581, which at that time, was just 5 years old, that recipe.
Yeah.
This is a very old ripe. And ripe, I think, especially in that first decade, changed a lot in terms of how it was processed, how it was done, and that sort of thing.
Right.
So it'd be really interesting. Ripe changed a lot in that first 10 years of kind of production. And so it'll be really interesting to try. They were experimenting with a lot of stuff of like different fermentation times. So some are going to be a little bit lighter fermented from that period. They were even playing around with like ripe raw mixes. I believe this is not a ripe raw mix. I think this is just a potentially lighter fermented ripe.
Cool.
And Sue based in Malaysia. So, but her storage is fairly clean and dry as far as Malaysia goes. So it'll be interesting, certainly, to try this tea.
Yeah. And at that point, ripe Pu'erh was, maybe 7 or 8 years old, like you were saying. I guess it depends on what 1980, what year it was.
I think it is supposed to be 1980.
Okay, so it was 7 years old at that point. So,
yeah.
Very much like a new quote-unquote technology.
Right.
And certainly an interesting...
Grab this.
Yeah.
We are using about 7.8 grams. It's definitely not brewing super dark.
Right.
All things considered, certainly a tea of this age you could also expect you'd certainly be using boiling water, but you could probably also lean on it a fair amount as far as things go without it getting biting back too hard.
Get in there. It smells old.
Yeah, it does smell old. It's got really... I'm trying to describe this more uniquely, but it's really woody tones to it.
Bit of a medicine shop kind of vibe.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Cheers to 10 years filming TDB with me and James.
Yeah, 10 years.
Crazy.
Cheerio.
God, you think I'd figure it out?
Yeah. I was almost going to wait till it hit your lips and I decided that'd be too cruel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So sweet. Saccharine sweet in a way that I don't experience ripes.
And really, really wood forward in a way that is a little different. I mean, this is like one of those teas where you could describe it, but it really doesn't do justice. It is pretty different as far as like these kind of characteristics go. It is very sweet and pretty high notes.
Yeah.
All things considered. It's not like one of those ripes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think part of that has to do with like perhaps not the most dank of storage.
Yeah. Very clean. Tastes really good. Yeah. Really saccharine sweet, quite woody, a little hint of that sort of medicinal something. Maybe a very tiny amount of kind of camphor, a little bit of some sort of herbal type vibe to it.
Right.
And I'm going to use a little bit less water in here so we have a nice even. And this is a 140 ml pot?
Yep. So you want to make sure you use a pretty good leaf to water ratio for something like this.
Right. And I'm stirring the liqueur like that because it can get a little bit bunched up towards the mouth of the cup, of the pot, excuse me. I just tend to do that in general, like with almost all my teas. Depends, right? I mean, my daily drinker, sometimes I'll just like use it like a stone soup and just add more tea to what's already there.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Yeah. And so, in that case, there's not really any space to like stir it around, just
Right.
like full. But it's always enjoyable.
Yeah.
Definitely darker.
Yeah, getting a bit of a red date taste to this, so it'll be interesting to try this steep. I think it'll taste quite different from that first one. Really sweet, lingering sweetness too. Yeah, kind of has this very sort of like Chinese fruit, red date, lychee sort of sweetness that lingers.
Mm-hmm. Cheerio.
Cheerio. All the way down the hatch.
What?
I don't know.
I don't know either, man. You get surprises every episode. Oh my god. Oh, down that. Oh man, make that into a meme, someone. Stat. Put that on Discord. Oh lord.
The funny thing is, me saying that made it so your tea definitely did not go all the way down the hatch.
That's true. Yeah, surprisingly kind of, fruity. Almost, like kind of a lychee flavor. It's interesting.
Yeah. How different would you say this is from your typical ripe experience?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Almost a hint of a sour fruit thing happening in this one in a way that I'm not used to at all.
Yeah.
I would never
get
describe
too,
ripe like that. Yeah, I mean, frankly, this is so different that I think if I was drinking this blind, I might actually have a hard time placing it.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't have. I mean, it just makes you think that the ripe production must have changed just an awful lot.
Yeah.
In like the 43 years or whatever since this time.
Yeah. Getting like a tart lemon flavor.
I do too.
Yeah.
This soup definitely oddly kind of this like sour fruity thing.
Very
going
interesting.
on.
Yeah.
But very tasty
Do
nonetheless.
you taste the age on this?
Somewhat.
Right.
I don't know that it's like one of those where it'd be hard to guess that it's as old as it is.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, at a certain point, it becomes a little hard to guess the age for
Right.
people that don't have like decades of experience, or have tasted like 200 teas from like 1980, for instance. So
Yeah.
It's like we are certainly novices when you compare us with someone like Sue. Yeah.
Beautiful color, really fantastic taste, great residual flavor.
Yeah.
Very different. This isn't something that you probably would share with mom, with the average mom. No offense, moms, to moms out there. I know moms out there are pissed right now. Sorry, moms. But
They've come at us on Twitter before.
they tried to cancel us
Yes.
once.
I mean, you got an alt called Mom Slayer 420.
Mom slayer. Oh, don't. Oh, just never mind.
What I
Whatever.
said too much?
Yeah. Fuck.
Okay.
There goes my political career, and it was going so well until now.
Yeah.
But yeah, mom test. What do you think? Would this actually?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit odd. I mean, the palates are really interesting and different. I'm curious to see how this tastes because the first one tasted nothing like the second steeping.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Down the hatch.
Down the hatch. Cheerio.
Tastes a little more ripe-like now.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, it's starting to remind me a little bit of 7581 and a bit, like kind of a strong red date flavor coming on here.
It's very fruity.
Yeah.
It has that kind of almost like piney, cedary kind of a thing going on.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But quite a lot of fruit. None of those sort of like deeper notes of cacao or vanilla. Not really roasty at all.
Low on dirt notes too. Like
Yeah.
earthy dirt notes
Yeah.
for something as old as it is. Not that it doesn't have a little bit, but yeah. I'd still say it does have very strong wood vibes to it.
Totally.
Certainly in that kind of pine vein.
And there's like that tartness that is so unique. I haven't had nothing like that before on a rep. Really interesting.
Do you get that tartness in the past steep too?
Not as much,
Okay.
but it's still there a little bit. More like a zest kind of a flavor. I feel like I'm tasting a bit more of the age on it now. Kind of the salty thing going on too. Really interesting. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Very unique to try.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those teas where I suppose this could patch the ultralight test, but it'd be a bit of a waste.
Totally.
Definitely a tea you want to have with fellow tea nerds, people that just can really appreciate tea. Because it's, I mean, frankly speaking, it's just very rare and hard to find something of this age. So
right.
you want to make sure you make the most of opportunities such as that.
And to be clear, it's hard to find something of this age that's ripe.
It's hard to find something of this age that's raw or
True.
even, yeah.
But especially ripe. I mean, the quantity of production of ripe has dramatically increased to meet demand.
Very true, yeah.
These teas just weren't produced nearly as much. I mean, it's kind of a fluke for raw being old, just because it's been around for so long. But with these teas, in Xiaguan, the factory, I'm forgetting. Were they the ones that created raw? I'm sorry, ripe?
No, they were not.
Okay.
And in fact, they're mostly known for more of their raw production rather than ripe. So, in very many, in fact, the 7583 recipe is something that I don't know that I've ever really seen. Very uncommon tea put into the modern context. But, you know, I mean, back then it was like, they didn't have that, like, 45 years of history or whatever.
Right.
So, it's like, Xiaguan has mainly become known for making tools like these.
Yep.
So, and you know, you do drink the one ripe that they do make.
I do.
This is definitely one of their most common ripes.
Yeah,
so,
I enjoy it. Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Bit deeper notes now, a bit earthier, almost maybe a little bit of a mushroom thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it maybe just as a product of its age, it took a few extra steeps to get going.
Yeah.
Like, and build up to speed, and now
Yeah.
I feel like it's starting to go more full throttle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very tasty.
It is tasty. Very different. I totally agree. This is a tea nerd's tea. I think having context for this is important. Having this just in like I've never had red Pu'erh context would be very weird.
Yeah.
So it's not exemplary of the category at all. Yeah, really interesting. I don't know if anyone can actually pick this up.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cost would probably be outrageous if you could. So, yeah, one that we will appreciate, but unfortunately can't necessarily recommend a spot to pick it up. But, you know, we've done 450 episodes prior to this of teas, most of which you can buy. So,
yeah, take that. I used hot water on this. I'm going to boil and actually push this one as hard as we can.
Okay.
I think it'll take it. Quixotic is your SAT word.
Oh, nice.
I mean, really good though. Very defining definition in some ways, or define the category for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let this hang out for a minute. Not actually a minute. I'm just gonna give this a little hang out here. So 10 years of TDB. So we started this with the idea that we were going to film 16 episodes.
Yeah, which we did.
And see how it went. And we would just decide after that what we want to do with the project. It's not like we had some huge success at that point or by any stretch, or have ever had huge success.
We had people tune in, but and a couple people comment, but it wasn't like massive.
It wasn't big, and there wasn't really a lot of YouTube anything, frankly, at all.
Yeah,
in English.
I think to some extent, and then there's been a lot of channels since then. We're definitely not the most popular tea channel.
Not at all, right?
But we were one of the earliest.
Yeah, and we did 16 episodes. It wasn't like we were, looking to change our day jobs, but we just had a good time doing it.
Yeah.
We worked together outside of TDB, so this was a good excuse to... We still do.
Yeah.
We still do.
Yeah.
And so this is a good excuse to just hang out and have some more light interaction. And we've been doing it for 10 freaking years. Pretty good.
Let us know how long you guys have followed TDB for. I'm curious how many people have watched for how long. If most people we get are now newer to tea, or if some people have been sipping alongside us for those full 10 years or close to it.
Yeah. And if you have, you're crazy, but we appreciate you.
We do, yeah.
Okay, here we go. It's going to be warm and intense.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Down the hatch.
Ooh, that is warm. Oh, I'm getting back that sort of tart lemon thing going on here. Very interesting.
Yeah. So odd. So, and again, that might just be that the actual fermentation process was far shorter on this. So, right? And for folks out there, what we really mean is that when you're combining and turning the leaves and how long it's going to be, how long they hang out, the temperature, the amount of moisture that's added to the leaves as well, and how long it sort of sits in a big hot heap, basically.
Right.
And each recipe, I mean, that's an essential part of each of these recipes for how they're made, of course, for rice. But, as people were sort of learning and figuring out what tasted good, and certainly no one knew what this was going to taste like now, 30 years later.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's like, typically, it's kind of become a 45-day process. I think it was probably similar then, but I think, like, back then it was very much kind of Wild West. It's like they may have been experimenting with the type of material that would go in here. So it's certainly possible that the material we're getting is atypical of what you would find in ripe these days, too.
So good.
Yeah.
This sort of Xiaguan sweet thing is coming back, too. So odd to say this is almost like a lemon drop. Like, what? 1980s ripe Pu'erh tasting like a lemon drop candy?
Yeah.
Very strange, but really nice. Well, it's been a pleasure, sir.
It has.
We're going to keep doing this wildness, so stick around, I guess. Cheers to you. Cheers to doing this for 10 years.
Cheers to our subscribers. Thank you for following and tuning in.
Yep. And check us out on tdb.org if you would like. Subscribe if you want. Send this to a loved one like your cousin's cat. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Down the hatch.